Ooh, hey everybody, Sam Dog, the infamous 253, coming at you guys with Dallas Stewart on the speakerphone. Dallas, how you doing?
Doing pretty good.
Well, the time is here. The schedule for the 2025 Seahawks season is officially out and released, and let's get into it right now. All right. So here it is, the 2025 Seahawks schedule. First in the preseason of week one, we start out with the Raiders at home. Pete Carroll makes a homecoming in the preseason to Seattle, which hopefully that game is on a Saturday because that says to be determined, which hopefully the Seahawks fans, and I know for a fact I'll be giving Pete Carroll a standing ovation for all he did for us. What do you think, Dallas?
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a pretty warm welcoming for Pete Carroll.
Yeah, granted, it's the preseason though. I mean, it's not the regular
Yeah,
season,
is that
but
game a Friday? Is that game a Friday?
it says to be determined. We won't know. We won't know for a little while, which hopefully we figure out soon. So that way I can plan my PTO days. Week two preseason, we're home to Kansas City Chiefs in the preseason, and then week three we're at Green Bay, Wisconsin, taking on the Packers in the preseason. So those are the three eye tests.
So two AFC West teams and one NFC North team. Didn't we play Green Bay to end the preseason? I think it was like 2 years ago.
2023, yeah. Jake Bobo had a touchdown in
Yeah,
that game. Yeah.
yeah, it was like a weird score. It was like 18-15.
Yeah, Green Bay ended up winning that one in the preseason, but all right. So, but yep, these are our preseason games. And now let's get to the regular season. Week one, San Francisco 49ers. And we also end with San Francisco in week 18, but they wanted to put us up front with them in week number one. It'll be interesting to see how San Francisco looks this year, especially, with all the losses on defense. I mean, they lost a lot of key players on defense and they still got to pay Purdy.
Yeah, and no Debo Samuel anymore.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a bit of a roster overall.
yeah, but they did add that pass rusher from Georgia, Michael Williams, which we were watching the draft during at Camp Chancellor's watch party at Legion Sports Bar. And then,
Yeah,
yep, so start out San Francisco week one, week two, get a rematch with DK Metcalf in Pittsburgh. Surprised they put this one early in the year. And I wonder if Max Sports will have us on for his live show coming up leading up to that game, which would be fun to be on with him again. Shout out Max Sports if you're watching this. Pittsburgh week two, who's going to be Pittsburgh's quarterback? A lot of questions.
yeah. God, I remember we played Pittsburgh in week 2 in 2019. That squeaker
Yeah, that 28-26 win.
when Roethlisberger got hurt when we watched it at Kenny Burns' viewing party. The weather should still be. The weather's probably still going to be pretty hot. Still early in the year,
Yeah, it always is hot on the East
and we've
Coast.
struggled. We've struggled there.
Oh yeah, we have struggled there in recent history in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is a tough place to play. Be interested to see how Sam Darnold see how Jalen Milroe looks in the preseason because that's who I'm the most excited to watch is Jalen
It'd be
Milroe.
nice to get some revenge for 2023 Week 17, the home finale, and also the uh, Sunday night game in 2021
Yeah,
when Gino was filling in for Russell.
yeah, that's right. That game that we lost in overtime. But yep, Pittsburgh week two, week three at home to the New Orleans Saints, which who's going to be their quarterback will be Tyler Shuck. Derek Carr retired. A lot of craziness going on over there with the quarterback situation
They
in New Orleans.
lost what 12 out of their last 15 after that 2-0 start, and yeah, a team that's headed in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I would like to get some revenge on them for the last couple of matchups.
That should be one of our easier games.
Yeah,
We should have no business losing that game.
yeah. But who knows how Pittsburgh's defense is going to be for Pittsburgh? But New Orleans, we definitely need to freaking kick the crap out of them. But we have to be more prepared for Taysom Hill, unlike the last time in
I
2022.
think New Orleans can have a top 5 pick this year.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Up next, Thursday night football at Arizona. The Arizona Cardinals. We get them earlier in Arizona this year on September 25th on Thursday night football. That was a surprise to me. That one will be interesting. Arizona Cardinals making a massive overhaul move on their defense, getting Josh Sweat in the freaking free agency. About one of the only good moves they did. I mean, they also made some moves on their defense during the draft, but I'll tell you what, from the last few matchups, I mean, granted, some with Pete Carroll, but last year Mike McDonald had Jonathan Gannon's number, and for that week, I mean, Arizona, their defense, we'll see how they look, but we all know what's really holding them back. They still got the overrated midget at quarterback, Midget Murray.
Yeah.
As long as Murray's their quarterback, that's going to hold them back, in my opinion. In my opinion, Murray ain't taking them to the promised land. I think we can. I honestly think we can sweep Arizona again.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah,
We handled them pretty good. We handled them pretty good last year.
yeah. I mean, granted, we won 16-6 the first game in Seattle with Kobe Bryant's pick six, but then we absolutely. I would say the second matchup last year in Arizona where Charbonnet went off, we absolutely manhandled them.
Yeah, the first matchup was a bit of a ugly defensive slugfest.
I want to see how Gray Zabel does against Josh Sweat though this year, our rookie. See how Gray Zabel
Yeah.
can handle it. I think he's up to the challenge though, and made some big moves getting Bryce Cable due on our offensive line too, and Mason Richmond too in the draft. So we'll see. And plus, free agency wise, it'll be interesting to see some of the UDFA's we got though too during the preseason. But yep, Arizona week 4, week 5, home taking on Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Emeka Ibuka, who got drafted from Ohio State to the Buccaneers to complement Mike Mike Evans, the aging veteran. Tampa Bay will be interesting this year, and Baker
Yeah.
Mayfield.
The four-time defending NFC South champions.
Tampa Bay, I could see them making another run. I think they'll win. I think Tampa will win the South again. To be honest,
Yeah, probably by default.
yeah. Well, Tampa Bay will be interesting to watch. Then week 6, we go down to Jacksonville on October 12th, October 10th. I mean October 12th. Yep, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville, they drafted Travis Hunter. That's about it. We'll see how else they look and see if Trevor Lawrence is even able to stay healthy this year. Then
Yeah.
week 7, we got a Monday night game in Seattle on the 20th of October, taking on CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans, our first matchup. That'll be interesting to see CJ Stroud, and that's going to be a challenge. I think CJ Stroud, this is going to be a challenge taking on CJ Stroud. We've never faced him before, so we see if McDonald has our defense ready for CJ Stroud
Yeah.
because he's tough, he's mobile, and he he can move pretty well, man, in the pocket, and he's a tough guy to bring down.
Yeah.
Week 8 is our bye week, so we know one of our red zone weeks. Week 4, week 8. Week 9, we take on the Washington Commanders on Sunday Night Football in Landover, Maryland, over at Northwest Stadium, now formerly known as FedEx Field. That's gonna. I could see this one definitely being a loss with how good the Commanders have been.
Yeah, after a really surprise season last year.
Going to the
Um,
doorstep of the Super Bowl with a rookie quarterback, Jaden
yeah,
Daniels.
well, flying cross country. Weather starts getting cold in DC that time of year.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Then week 10, home to Arizona. Have the Pacific Northwest elements in our favor again. Just like that one game when we were playing in Seattle, the difference was we were able to shut down James Conner a lot better in Seattle compared to when we played him in Arizona last year. Will history repeat itself on that? Will we struggle with James Conner again in Arizona and handle him well in Seattle? I mean, we'll find out. This time, get the Cardinals in November because we played them in September in week 4 on Thursday night. This time it's just going to be on a normal Sunday at 1:05 p.m. Pacific time on the 9th. Arizona for round 2. Week 11, take on the Los Angeles Rams in week 11 down at SoFi Stadium. Rams, it'll be interesting to see, will Father Time finally catch up with Stafford?
Yeah. Is that on the road?
That's the first road game in LA.
So Cooper Cup's return to LA
Yep, Cooper Cup's return to LA, and
after coming up after actually giving the Eagles a bit of a battle in the NFC divisional round.
that's right,
The elements were too much
in the
for the
snow.
Rams.
But now they got Devontae Adams in at receiver after after they released Cooper Kupp. They added Devontae Adams in the fold. We'll see how Devontae Adams will do
They
with
always
Stafford,
give us they always give us problems.
especially that pass rush with Jared Verse, the defensive rookie of the year. So be ready for that pass rush. But I just have some feeling. I think Father Time catches Stafford this year, and I think he might sustain some injury that he won't be able to come back from. But we
Yeah,
got to be able to shut down Kyron Williams and Devontae Adams. Even when he was reunited with Aaron Rodgers last year, he still looked washed, even like he did with the Raiders.
yeah, we should have freaking swept the Rams last year.
Yeah, I
Blew
mean,
that blew that home game. Blew it in the second half.
yeah, especially when we should have kicked the field goal in overtime. But
Granted, in
and it,
week 18, was it week 18 last year?
when they were resting their starters,
They were resting their starters, but still,
yeah, this is
and they
what.
still gave us and it still went right down to the wire.
So yeah, this is definitely one the Seahawks fans have had marked on their calendars ever since we blew it at home. Granted, now Geno Smith is no longer here; he's gone. It's either going to be Sam Darnold or Jalen Milroe, but what version of Sam Darnold are we really going to get, you know? Because, he shit the bed against the Rams with Minnesota last year, twice.
Yeah,
But yeah, we'll see. That's going to be the one thing I'm anxious to see, but who knows? For all we know, I mean, not saying it's going to happen, but what if Jalen Milroe pulls what Russell Wilson did in 2012 and steals the starting job uh, and just we go on another crazy ass run like we did before? I mean, not saying it's going to happen, knock on wood, but I want to see Jalen Milroe personally. For me, I want to see Jalen Milroe get a lot of reps in the RPO since now we got Clint Kubiak as our offensive coordinator. If you remember, Clint Kubiak worked with Taysom Hill in New Orleans.
yeah,
So it'll be interesting to see what we do with freaking Jalen Milroe. But yep. Ooh, Los Angeles Rams, the first matchup in Los Angeles, week 11. Week 12, we go to Nashville for what should most likely be our last time playing in Nissan Stadium since the Tennessee Titans got a new stadium being built. Tyler Lockett now on the fold, and he's going to be catching footballs from the first overall pick, Cam Ward. Tennessee, who I'm anxious to see what they look like this year, but I feel like this should be a game we should win. Minnesota, well,
yeah,
Minnesota, week 13 will be interesting to see them. See how JJ McCarthy, if he can stay healthy and how he looks throughout the year with those weapons of Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Minnesota,
Sam Darnold revenge game, and I want to get revenge on them for that heartbreaker last year
yeah, well,
when Sam Darnold hit Justin Jefferson
yeah,
for
when,
what turned out to be the game winner.
yeah, but we'll see what
That was
happens.
one of our more frustrating losses last year.
It was, yeah, for sure. But will Sam Darnold get Sam Darnold revenge game on Minnesota since now they went with JJ McCarthy? Or like I said, who knows? What we still got to see what Jalen Milroe could pull in the freaking preseason, or and
Yeah,
who knows what might happen to Sam Darnold during the season. Anything could happen. But hope not for injuries. But like I said, we'll just see what happens. But Minnesota, you got to be ready for Justin Jefferson every time you face Minnesota.
yeah.
And then also they got freaking Jordan Mason, that running back from the
Do they still have
49ers.
Do they still have T.J. Hawkinson?
I think they still got Hawkinson. They still got Aaron Jones, but they added Jordan Mason from the 49ers and
Who's that other receiver they have that's good?
Addison.
Jordan Addison. That's right. Yeah, I got to watch out for him.
Yep, Addison, Jefferson, Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, and Jordan Mason, who the Vikings made a trade with San Francisco for. All right. Week 14, Atlanta Falcons, December 7th, taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Michael Penix, Drake London. Michael Penix now the starter, and they have the most expensive backup with Kirk Cousins. I think Michael Penix, if we can put a lot of pressure on him, we could. I feel like Atlanta's a winnable game. They made some moves on their defense in the first round this past draft too, so we'll be interested to see what Atlanta's
Yeah,
looking like this year.
and then we beat them last year, and that was like one of our most convincing wins last year.
Yeah, that boy Mbappe strip sack where Witherspoon threw the block and Derek Hall scooped it, and because of that Witherspoon block,
And that was when Atlanta was rolling.
yeah, it was.
And they were really never the same after that game.
Yeah, we pretty much set Atlanta on the downward spiral for where they lost the division to Tampa. Granted, they swept Tampa Bay last year,
Yeah.
but whew, Atlanta, that'll be interesting. I'm actually, special announcement, I'm actually trying to go to Atlanta this year. I'm trying to go to Atlanta. I'm trying to go to this game in
That'd be
Atlanta
cool.
this year.
I would look. That's a nice stadium.
Yeah, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I want to go in that stadium, not gonna lie. Atlanta's got a really awesome stadium. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Atlanta looks early in the season when we get to see them on one of our red zone reactions or NFL primetime highlights. We'll see. All right, week 15, home to the Indianapolis Colts. Will Anthony Richardson be healthy by then? Or can he
Yeah, they
stay healthy this year?
drafted Tyler Warren.
Yep, the tight end from Penn State. And still got to look out for Jonathan Taylor at
First
running
time
back.
we've played him at home since like that week 4 Sunday night game in 2017
Yeah, that is the
when
first.
they were starting Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, and last time we played him was in Lucas Oil Stadium. We kicked the crap out of him with
In
that.
week 1, I remember
The
that.
two Tyler Lockett touchdowns, the Gerald Everett touchdown, and the bomb to DK Metcalf. Yeah, and that was when Carson Wentz was their quarterback. But it'll be interesting to see how Indianapolis looks. And the question is this time, will Anthony Richardson be healthy later in the season, or will they have to freak? Or who's their backup now? Because Joe Flacco went back to Cleveland.
I have no idea who their backup is.
Yeah, someone
They
else.
were they were just
Oh wait, Daniel Jones is
they
their backup. Daniel Jones.
they were disappointing last year.
They were. I mean, especially when they shit the bed against the Giants and to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, they are. That's right. They were eliminated from contention in week 17.
They lost to Drew Lock. Kind of like, hey, we lost to Daniel
I
Jones though
cannot
last year
believe
though.
that.
Yeah, we lost to Daniel Jones last year though when he was starting for the Giants though. I mean, that was just a downfall that still pissed me off
Yeah,
to.
they've been kind of disappointing ever since that year they made the wild card game, which I think was in like 2020.
Yeah, Andrew Luck's last game.
I think Philip Rivers was
Oh, Philip. Yeah,
quarterbacking
yeah,
them.
Philip Rivers. That's right. That's right. Philip Rivers when they lost to the Buffalo Bills. That's right. I forgot Philip Rivers. My bad. My bad on that one. Yeah, Philip Rivers. Andrew Luck was already retired. So yep, Colts at home, and then 4 days later after that, rematch with the Los Angeles Rams on Thursday Night Football in Seattle at Lumen Field. Like I mentioned before, just always gonna.
I think we always every year we get the Rams on a Thursday night. It just always feels that way.
We didn't get them last year on Thursday night, just Sunday and just both Sunday games last time. And then
Yeah, but
finally,
2021 2019 Thursday night game, 2021 where Russell Wilson got hurt.
yep.
It just feels like we play him a lot on Thursday night football.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then week 17, Carolina Panthers. You mentioned this earlier on the phone. Maybe it could be a potential trap game, which we hope not. It'll be interesting to see.
Carolina did come on strong. Carolina did kind of come on strong at the end of the year.
Giving teams some fits. They even some contending teams. I mean, look how well they battled the Kansas City Chiefs.
I mean, they almost beat Kansas City last year.
They did. And
I mean, they looked really bad, and like I remember they looked really bad like the first couple weeks of the season last year, and I'm like, they're going like 1-16 or 1-16, 2-15, but they did kind of they're improving. That's not going to be an easy game. I could see Carolina maybe winning 6 or 7 games this year.
it'll be interesting to see how
Improving on their win total from last year.
be interesting to see how Bryce Young looks. Hey, remember Carolina did beat Arizona last year, which knocked the Cardinals out of playoff contention. They still have the Arizona Cardinals number.
Yeah, that was pretty late in the year.
Yeah, the Carolina.
I think they ended their season and they beat the Falcons in overtime.
Yeah, that's right. They did. But the Carolina,
So they ended their season. They ended their season on a high note.
they did. And remember, the Carolina Panthers, they still have Arizona. They still have Arizona's number ever since the 2015 NFC Championship game, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when they beat Arizona. And then last but not least, we start the season with San Francisco and Seattle. We end the season with San Francisco and Levi Stadium, but we won't know what will be up for stake by the time we get to that one. So that's pretty much our schedule for the 2025 Seahawks season. It'll be very interesting to see what happens, and we got a lot to be excited about, especially with the moves we made in the draft. And yeah, pretty much sums it up. Dallas, thank you for joining me on this.
Yep, no problem. Always an exciting day. Yeah, we're just one step closer to the start of the season.
Time to find out when training camp is, and hopefully later on we'll get those days revealed for the preseason games, which I hope our two home preseason games are on Saturdays. So that way I don't have to use PTO.
Yeah, that it's always nice when they do this home Saturday preseason games. I mean, for your sake.
I mean, but hopefully if they have them on the Fridays, I mean, I don't mind taking a half a day, but we'll see. Anyway, drop your thoughts down below in the comments, and we will catch you next time or later on. It's kind of a dead period, but it's always exciting when they drop the schedule. Drop your thoughts in the comments down below on the schedule. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. But yep, exciting time. Schedule's out. Let's get it. If you ain't with it, you ain't infamous. As always, go Seahawks.